The first attempt at organised education in the village appears to have been a private one by Emma Harriman. In 1867, she opened a private class at her mother's house on a small farming property in Jordan's Crossing, now Bundanoon. The fee was 3d per week per child, with a limit of 1 shilling per family. Teaching consisted mainly of reading, writing and arithmetic. Emma Harriman ran the school until 1870, when the Harriman family moved away from Bundanoon. In about 1870, the local trustees of the Primitive Methodist Church acquired land at Jordan's Crossing, also known as barren ground, and a church of timber slabs was built on the corner of Railway Avenue and Church Street, the present site of the Bundanoon Memorial Hall. It was also used as a school on weekdays. On the 5th of November 1870, the settlers applied to the Council of Education for a provisional school to be provided. A provisional school was one where the local community provided the land, building, furniture, cost of repairs, and sometimes the teacher. The Council of Education had little to do with the maintenance of the school, apart from supplying the essential equipment. Bundanoon Provisional School opened in January 1871 and was located in the Primitive Methodist Church. The New South Wales Council of Education appointed Dinah Osborne as the first teacher at a salary of £36 per annum. Initially there were around 40 pupils, ranging in age from 4 to 14. The slab school hall was moved off the site by 1884. Thomas and William Tooth leased the land from the church and built a shop and residence. This was Mrs. Bierman's mounting home, a 2-storey weatherboard residence and guest house. Dinah and George Osborne moved to Jordan's Crossing in 1870, and in 1892 they built the early guest house, the Knoll. Dinah had trained at St James Model School in Sydney. In 1872, when an inspector visited Bundanoon Provisional School, he reported that there were 33 pupils present, clean and orderly and making fair progress in learning. The schoolroom is built of slabs and bark with a boarded floor. It is in passable repair and there is a supply of good furniture. He advised that the teacher's salary should be increased to £48 per annum and an average of 20 pupils be maintained. There were 3 classes and the children studied reading, writing, arithmetic, grammar, geography, singing, drawing and object lessons. On the 18th of December 1876, it became Bundanoon Public School, and Dinah Osborne remained in charge until May 1880. In 1892, to celebrate her 60th birthday, Dinah invited all the children from the school to a picnic at Cairn Hill. The school was always called Bundanoon School, even though the name Bundanoon was not officially adopted for the village until 1881. In 1879, the rules for teachers were quite strict. Duties included filling lamps, cleaning chimneys, and fetching in coal for the fire. Female teachers were dismissed if they married or engaged in unseemly conduct. Teachers were expected to use their free time reading the Bible or other good books. Smoking, drinking liquor or getting shaved in a barber's shop were all discouraged. A teacher who performed without fault for 5 years would be given an increase in his pay of 2 shillings and 6pence per week. With an increase in population, the village required new school premises. In 1878, the Council of Education purchased from George Osborne an acre of land facing Church Street. This is the site of the current school. Plans were drawn up for a teacher's residence consisting of a wooden building with 4 rooms and a schoolroom attached. This school was built in 1880 and a second classroom was added shortly afterwards. Application was made for the provision of a fully qualified male teacher, and Henry Lovell was appointed, taking charge in May 1880. He occupied the new residence with his wife Martha. The Lovells were renowned for their high standard of education and consideration for the welfare of their students. He left the district in April 1888, following the death of his wife. A report from the Scrutineer, May the 11th, 1882. Within a short distance of the station is a neat wooden public school and teachers' residence, but unfortunately it is far too small for the requirements of the place, even at present. The number of pupils on the roll is 64, and the average attendance is 53, which speaks well for the character of the master, Mr. Lovell, and the teaching he imparts. Sarah Elizabeth Grubb Lake, later Sarah Nicholas, was a teacher at Bundanoon Public School from 1894 to 1906. She married Gus Nicholas in 1896. There was a general outpouring of regret when she retired from teaching in 1906. She was the first president of the Bundanoon branch of the Red Cross Society, formed in 1914. In 1890, 2 acres on Victoria Street were purchased and added to the school grounds for a playing area. In 1896, Samuel Tooth's tender of £115, 2 shillings and 6pence was accepted for alterations and repairs. In 1909, a new brick and stone building comprising of 2 classrooms, able to accommodate 100 pupils, was built at a cost of £133. This building was designed by Walter Liberty Vernon and E.L. Drew in the Federation Arts and Crafts style. The school grounds were augmented by further acquisitions, so the site grew to about 4 acres. At that time, 72 pupils were registered, with an average attendance of 55. The original buildings were demolished in 1929. The children mostly walked to school, but some rode their ponies. During the 1920s and 1930s, annual picnics were held in the school grounds, and social evenings were held to raise funds. In 1926, heating stoves were installed in the classrooms. 20 years later, in 1946, the grounds and fencing were overhauled and an assembly area was created with a concrete path to the front gate. In 1949, the Education Department called for tenders to erect a new teacher's residence. Former pupils remember how the school was in the 1930s. There were only 2 classrooms, divided by folding doors, with 1 teacher in each, managing the classes. There were no excursions and no class music. There were no organised sports days, although most children had access to Bundanoon's many tennis courts. There was an annual concert with every child involved and an end-of-year picnic with races and prizes. It is reported that there were 23 head teachers in charge of the school between 1871 and 1990, the first being Dinah Osborne. It would appear that she was the only female head teacher during this period. In 1937, students received souvenir medallions to celebrate the coronation of King George VI. In 1971, a centenary celebration was held at the school, with many ex-pupils returning for the festivities. Centenary gates were erected at the Church Street entrance to mark the occasion. Afterwards, there was a fete in the school grounds, an inspection of the school buildings, children's work and historical articles. There was also a centenary basket cabaret held in the Bundanoon Memorial Hall. The Bundanoon Public School celebrated 125 years of education in 1996, and 4 new classrooms were officially opened.
To officially recognise the 125th anniversary of Bundanoon School, to congratulate the school on that milestone, and to officially declare the new classrooms open. All the very best.
The school was open to the public to view a display of memorabilia, including craft items, old class photographs, and a video of school activities from many years ago. The teachers and the children dressed in period costume. A reunion dinner dance was held at the Bundanoon Memorial Hall. In 2009, Bundanoon became the first Australian town to ban the sale of bottled water. The Bundanoon School was involved in the planning of the event and the official launch. New water bubblers were installed in the town and also in the school grounds.
Of how we've become a world and a society where everything is about money. And these bubblers say it doesn't have to be always about money. There are free things still.
Could actually make a significant difference to people's thinking. They're delighted to think that people all around the world have been talking about what has been achieved by a small group of people in a little town in the Southern Highlands and to be part of it. So we were active in the opening and all of our children have received a drink bottle with their name on it and the school Bundanoon, and by the PNC that's given free of charge to any child who enrolls. And so the children have the use of that. But I do know a lot of them really enjoy the 2 bottles that are available as part of the Bundy on tap as well. So there's a lot of pride associated with it. There's a lot of water drunk as a result, and that's good, healthy choices. And so from our point of view, the parents, the teachers and the children all believe that this has been a real success.
In September 2009, Bundanoon School won the Bill Rose Award for its approach in using quality teaching practices for developing students' skills in visual and performing arts. The principal said she knew her school had something special to offer and was delighted to have the efforts acknowledged. In 2015, Bundanoon celebrated the 150th anniversary since the village became a community. The Bundanoon Public School entry in the Brigadoon Street Parade was a wonderful effort, with a special birthday cake float getting a lot of attention. The school has always been a major part of the community, and this role has continued as it has grown.